is here, playing with the randoms via matchmaking is here,
Is that
and playing
getting
entirely solo
knocked
is here.
offline?
But yeah, it's a great time with the group. All that being said, I do have problems with Night Rain, and I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a fair bit that left me disappointed. I'll get into exactly what those problems are later, but a lot of it boils down to a lack of randomization and variety across the board. Two things you usually want to nail in a roguelike. I don't know exactly how other people are reviewing this game, but let's just say it's not the next 10 out of 10 FromSoft hit. And that's okay. It's a $40 experimental spin-off game relying on recycled content from Elden Ring and coming from a first-time director. And while I'm absolutely a fan of Miyazaki handing the reins over to someone else to do something experimental and weird, that comes with obvious limitations. And that's all from a charitable perspective. I know plenty of people who are far less interested that hate everything this game stands for, and their interest drops to zero when they hear words like fast-paced, multiplayer, and Fortnite-esque. That's not what they play FromSoft games for. And honestly, fair enough. I get it. If you fall into that category, this game definitely isn't for you. If you watched my last Night Rain video covering the preview event, most of my thoughts and predictions for this game have remained the same. The stuff I liked, I still like. And the stuff I was mixed on, I'm still mixed on. Anyway, yeah, Night Rain is fun. So let's talk about what it actually is, what works, what doesn't, and everything in between. First, let's go over the full gameplay loop to make sure we're all on the same page. Before a run even begins, you'll find yourself in an alternate version of the round table hold. If you step up to the table itself, you'll be able to select which Night Lord you'd like to hunt in a vaguely similar fashion to selecting a monster to hunt in Monster Hunter. From there, you'll get thrown into matchmaking to find 2 other players. But of course, you also have the option of playing with friends by using a password. Or, I can't believe this since it's a FromSoft game, you can invite people to a lobby to skip the password altogether. It would have been cool if they actually got invited to the hub itself and you could interact with each other, but oh well. I'll take it. Next, you'll be presented with the character select screen, where you can choose between 8 different Nightfarers. I'll go over some of them a little more later, but the important thing for now is just knowing that each offers a pretty distinct playstyle with their own passive ability, active ability on a short cooldown, and ultimate ability on a longer cooldown. Trust me when I say that this character roster is the best part of the game and goes a long way toward remixing the rhythm of the Elden Ring combat experience while also providing opportunities for fun co-op synergies and interactivity. You have a dude with a grappling hook, a birdman that can dive bomb the ground, a terraforming muscle guy that likes to headbutt enemies, a Sekiro parry master that can transform into a primordial beast with a whole separate moveset, and even a spirit summon class that summons a giant skeleton that shoots laser beams. And that's all on top of the unique moveset each character gets when using their preferred weapons. Like, using a greatsword with Wilder is different than using a greatsword with any other character. So yeah, this is Elden Ring combat, but these additions make Night Rain's combat very much its own thing. And side note, since you'll see them throughout the video, yes, there are skins you unlock for each character with in-game currency collected from completing runs, and those skins include quite a few Dark Souls references. After each player selects their character, you'll be shown a brief cutscene of everyone walking toward a cliff before breaking into a sprint to catch a ride from a spectral hawk. Then the game finally begins with you gliding onto the map on your bird. Instead of picking where you're dropping tilted tower style, the game picks for you. Pretty much every time, you'll land right next to a small camp filled with weak enemies that provide just enough runes to get to level 2. Just like Elden Ring, you need to find a site of grace to level up. But instead of choosing your stats, you simply hit the level up button to get a stat boost across the board depending on the character you're playing as. I originally speculated that getting to choose your stats would be a better leveling system, but no, just a simple level up is a much better fit for such a fast-paced game. Speaking of which, let's talk more about that fast pace. Night Rain operates at a near breakneck speed where you don't really ever want to stop moving. Your primary means of getting from point A to point B is your super sprint, which is about twice as fast as just running normally. The reason you need to move so fast is because there's a constant ticking clock and shrinking play area that will rapidly damage you if you're outside of it. And your ability to effectively clear obstacles and choose your route through the map directly correlates with how strong you'll be able to get before facing the night bosses. When you first start out, you'll probably be like level 4 or 5 by the time you reach the first night. But once you get better and figure out what works, it's not unreasonable to reach level 10 by that same point in the match. Now, I'm sure some people will hate the fast-paced nature of this game, especially if they're coming from Elden Ring and we're hoping for a more slow-paced and exploration-driven experience like they're used to. But I really do think that the speed of this game works and is necessary for the type of game they're trying to make. Without this sort of time limit, not only would match length balloon into something unreasonable, it would also remove the strategy of moving around the map and defeating bosses in a timely fashion. When you and your buddies roll up on a boss, it might be a foregone conclusion that you'll win the fight, but what's undecided is how long it'll take. And taking 1 minute versus 2 could be the difference in allowing you to hit up one more point of interest before nightfall. Thus, your goal isn't just to win each fight, but to win each fight quickly. The shrinking zone format also creates these tense and fun moments where you might get greedy trying to finish off a boss as the zone rapidly approaches, or you might find yourself struggling to scramble up a cliff as you barely outrun the flaming death barrier. These moments kind of rule, and all of that would be lost if FromSoft hadn't opted for such a fast-paced game. But what are you actually doing while you're speeding around? Basically,
We're 5 minutes into this video, and I'm gonna tell you right now, this game sucks.
clearing a variety of points of interest, such as camps, forts,
I don't care
churches.
what this guy has to say. I mean, I kind of do, but like I'm being nice and I'm giving him a view. But like on the same flip side, or on the flip side, it's not a From Software game. Like Miyazaki did not have no hand in this. He just handed it over to this other guy, and he's just using the Elden Ring IP as a fucking Jesus Christ, bro.
And castles. In addition to the runes they provide for leveling, each one features at least one mini-boss encounter that drops a floating colored soul as a reward for defeating it. And this soul gives you the choice between 2 or 3 different rewards, ranging from new weapons to minor permanent passive buffs. These permanent buffs include stuff like plus 10% extra healing, or plus 6% physical damage. These points of interest also have additional loot in the form of extra weapons and consumables that pop out of chests. Each weapon has a passive attached to it, such as extra damage when two-handing, or faster spellcasting. But these passives still take effect even when the weapon isn't actively being held. That means you should fill up all 6 equipment slots with weapons, even if you only plan on actually using one to attack. Just like the other buffs, these are typically just minor stat boosts. However, a handful of weapons have special passives that only apply when you're holding them, and this is indicated by a small hand icon. Due to this restriction, they tend to be more impactful. Like one time I got a weapon that created lava whenever I began to sprint. Also, weapons have 4 different rarity levels: white, blue, purple, and orange. As you'd expect, they get more powerful the higher up you go, and each has its own level requirement. Level 3 for blue, level 7 for purple, and level 10 for orange. Lastly, all loot can be shared, and this provides an opportunity for teamwork if you trade items with your teammates. For example, since boss soul rewards are individual, you might get the chance to choose a high tier staff or bow that wouldn't fit your melee character, but would be perfect for your teammate. However, this is a bit tricky to pull off in random matchmaking due to the speed of the game and lack of communication, so I found myself mostly just doing this while playing with friends. As a side note, the randomized nature of which weapons you get is awesome for a game using Elden Ring as its base. I mentioned it in the previous video, but it bears repeating that Elden Ring is a game with hundreds of weapons and hundreds of spells in which the average player probably only used a very small fraction of that total amount. And Night Rain presents the perfect opportunity of forcing you to play around with weapons, skills, and spells you likely never touched in Elden Ring. While you're running around, you'll also be encountering other points of interest. The most important one is easily the ruined churches that add an extra maximum charge to your healing flask. Most runs will have you routing between every single one of these, since they're some of the most impactful upgrades you can acquire. There are also Everjails that can be unlocked with stone sword keys that contain mini-bosses, merchants that sell a variety of consumables and weapons, and mage towers that contain mini puzzles for you to solve to unlock various magic rewards. And as you're moving between all these points of interest, the super sprint isn't your only option. You can also keep an eye out for spirit streams and spectral hawk trees to reach your destination more efficiently. Spirit streams function more or less identically to spirit springs from Elden Ring by allowing you to leap up high into the air, and spectral hawk trees allow you to hitch a ride on, you guessed it, a spectral hawk. These hawks follow set paths indicated by lines on the map, but you can deviate from the path slightly by tilting the left stick or hopping off early. And, as I'm sure you've seen by now, you have a little wall climb you can do. And then in between all of that, there's still more in the form of scarabs that drop talismans, packs of roaming enemies, and additional field bosses hang out on their own. I really want to hand it to FromSoft for not only filling up the map with things to find, but also making the act of moving from point A to point B interesting through the varied terrain and elevations paired with these platforming mechanics. And because of the open world format, they needed to make approaching each point of interest at least somewhat interesting from every angle. And I think they mostly succeeded, like the castle in the center of the map. Regardless of if you approach it from the north, east, south, or west, it works and is engaging on some level. Anyway, as you're running around, collecting stuff, and killing enemies, there's a good chance you might go down. But instead of dying immediately, you have the chance to be brought back by this game's best feature, attacking to revive teammates. While it looks silly, it's actually pretty fun because there's a bit of strategy in how you hit them. Like, maybe you just run in to whack them, maybe you pull out a bow and shoot them from a distance, or best of all, maybe you utilize a big ultimate attack that not only revives your teammate, but also deals massive damage to the boss. It's quality stuff, and ultimately the exact type of thing I'm looking for when playing a co-op game, that being co-op interactivity. And you can't get much more interactive than shoving a sword up your friend's ass to revive them. It's also worth noting that as you repeatedly go down, the amount of damage you need to receive to be revived also goes up. So don't expect to get away with being too careless, as it can be quite the ordeal to get revived when all 3 bars are full. And on the topic of co-op interactivity, let's talk a bit more about the various character abilities. You have great stuff like Raider's Ultimate that shoots a giant stone pillar out of the ground, but that pillar remains as part of the environment for a time, and you can do stuff like have your teammates sit on top and pelt the boss with ranged attacks. You have Iron Eye's marking ability, where he dashes in to mark a target, and then marked targets take increased damage from everyone in the group. You have the Duchess's restage ability that allows her to repeat the damage an enemy just received, so you're encouraged to pay attention to what your teammates are doing and potentially combo big attacks with them. You have the Recluse and her magic cocktail ability, where you can create unique spells by pulling elements off not only enemies, but your teammates as well. What I just listed is far from an exhaustive list of co-op interactions, but do you get the idea? And even when abilities interact in less direct ways, there's still always that element of potential teamwork that permeates the whole combat system. Again, this is all great, and it goes a long way toward facilitating an interesting co-op experience. Eventually, at about the 11-minute mark of the run, you'll be hit with the message of "Rains gather, portending the tide of night," and that's when the circle starts to rapidly shrink. At this point, you can push your luck a bit by trying to sneak in a couple more mini-boss kills, but your main objective should be working your way toward the floating golden tree in the sky, since you only have about 2 minutes until the zone fully shrinks. Once there, you'll face off against a wave of small enemies, and after defeating them, the night boss will appear from a purple mist. These night bosses are really neat. Most of them are designed with co-op in mind, and that can take a few different forms, such as multiple enemies at once, like a draconic tree sentinel with 2 horseback riders assisting him. It can also take the form of Elden Ring bosses with new attack patterns designed for group play, such as Margit with his new super blood slashes and more aggressive throwing dagger moves. On top of that, a handful of old Dark Souls bosses make an appearance, like the Centipede Demon, and this too is a cool fit for co-op because you can cut off its limbs and they'll keep attacking you while detached. All of this helps create an environment that encourages teamwork, and I frequently found myself communicating with my friends with callouts like, "Hey, you hold aggro on that guy while we focus down these guys." It's fun. The new boss mechanics were exciting to see though, and I basically just wish there was a little more since not every boss feels new. Like, hey, it's awesome that the Falling Star Beast can now create these giant stone platforms that you can make it crash into. Give me more of that. After defeating the night boss, everyone gets to choose a major boss reward, and this comes in the form of a passive buff, but a more impactful one than most of the daytime boss rewards. I originally expressed some hesitation around this passive buff concept in my previous video, and unfortunately I feel pretty much the same. The vast majority of these buffs are just kind of boring. Like, hey, plus 18% damage negation is nothing to sneeze at, but man, that's just not very interesting from the perspective of changing your playstyle or evolving the build of your character mid-run. To be fair, there are a few interesting upgrades, like the one that creates an ice storm when you start sprinting, or the one that generates lightning bolts when you dodge, or the ones that cast spells when you slowly walk. But that's pretty much it, and they're a lot less common, and typically less useful, than the straight stat upgrades. I also ran into a frequent occurrence where 1 or 2 of the 3 upgrade choices would just be totally irrelevant to my character. Like, yeah, I'm probably not going to pick the option that boosts my spellcasting as the strength melee guy. This isn't inherently a bad thing, but it makes the already limited pool of upgrades feel more limited, and when 2 of the upgrades don't apply to your character, you're not really making a choice by defaulting to the 3rd. All that being said, I do want to extend some sympathy to what FromSoft created here and what their vision for Night Rain was. Ultimately, I think FromSoft wanted to create a condensed Elden Ring experience, but if they got too wild or too interesting with the upgrades, it could quickly devolve into something that isn't Elden Ring anymore. Is that goal potentially at odds with a genre that demands you repeat the same thing over and over? Maybe, but I do understand the dilemma of wanting the upgrades to be mostly background stat boosts in order to leave the core combat intact. And again, you're still getting build variety in the form of the weapons you collect, so it's not like that aspect of the game is entirely absent. I still land on the side that I wish things were handled a bit differently when it came to choosing upgrades, but yeah, I get why it ended up this way, and I think they did a solid job within that restricted vision. Anyway, with the night 1 boss down, day 2 begins, and the gameplay loop repeats. So let's go over some more things that can happen during that loop of running, fighting, and looting. One of the most interesting things that can happen while roaming around are these random events that demand your immediate attention. One example of this is a huge pack of enemies quite literally falling out of the sky. Another example would be Margit invading and then hunting you down. Both of these are interesting because they can happen at any point during the run, even at inconvenient times, like while you're fighting another boss. This forces you and your group to improvise, and I think roguelikes are typically at their best when you're forced to improvise by making the best of a bad situation. These also have the opportunity to create dynamic moments that are dependent on the environment of the map itself. One great example of this was when I was playing with Zully in Illusory Wall during the network test, and Margit invaded us while we were looting the small interior room of a fort. He wound up getting stuck inside, and we were able to pelt him with ranged spellcasting. It might sound like I'm being sarcastic when I say this, but this was awesome. And although it's a bit of a silly example, it shows just how much potential there is for the system to mix things up depending on where and when these events happen. Another random event that I really enjoyed was when we got cursed and lost some of our maxed HP. We originally had a route planned, but we were forced to drop everything and find the guy who cursed us, which happened to be across the map. When we found him, he demanded 35,000 runes to lift the curse. We didn't have the money, so I said, fuck it, let's blast him, and what do you know, we triggered a secret boss fight. This is Night Rain at its best. Memorable encounters that mix things up, force you to improvise, and encourage you to deviate from your typical route. My complaints about this random event feature are just that I wish it was more frequent and I wish there were more types of events. I want to say I only got to see one of these every 4 or 5 runs, and the pool of encounter types is a bit too small if I'm already seeing plenty of repeats with that level of infrequency. Another world event that you can sometimes run into is an interdimensional vortex, which, while neat, isn't quite as cool as the name suggests. It's a tornado that sometimes appears hovering above a key location at the start of a run rather than appearing mid-run at random, and they function by buffing the enemies and bosses below. Additionally, entering these areas prompts 2 NPC invaders to pop up and attack you as well. So again, neat idea that breaks up the usual routine of a typical run, and I would have loved to see more of this type of thing. The biggest deviation that can change a run though is a shifting earth event. However, similar to the vortexes, instead of surprising the player mid-run, these are telegraphed ahead of time at the very start. Basically, you'll sometimes encounter a different version of the map, where one of the quadrants has been terraformed and remixed into a different environment. There are 4 in total, and they include a volcano zone, snowy mountain zone, scarlet rot swamp zone, and Nox. Quickly break all the floating sigils he creates in a limited amount of time. And some of these are high enough off the ground that you need a ranged weapon to hit them. If you're too slow, he gets temporarily buffed and goes into a whole different attack pattern. As someone who often misses when FromSoft used to be more experimental with puzzles and weird gimmicks during boss fights, I think this blending of traditional fast-paced Elden Ring action with strategic co-op focused gimmicks is fantastic. Seriously, these won me over in a big way. Another cool aspect to these fights is that team composition matters. Like, obviously any fight can be done with any group of characters, but sometimes it can be massively helpful to have a ranged character. You'll exit the run with rewards, and the function it has though I also went out of my way to occasionally play the game entirely solo to understand that perspective as well. Let's talk about playing with friends first. Like most co-op games, this is the most fun way to experience the game. You're not only able to communicate effectively on where exactly you want to go, you can also better utilize mid-boss strats of pulling aggro and comboing abilities. Additionally, it's far easier to share weapons and items with each other. For example, right before each Night Lord fight, there's a shop that sells 2 Starlight Shards to restore FP. If you're a spellcaster, these are valuable. So if you're in a group, your friends can also buy 2 each and drop them for you, giving you a total of 6 items for FP recovery. You also have the opportunity to organize goofy runs where everyone plays the same character. I highly recommend messing around with this. You'd think 3 Iron Eyes wouldn't work, but it actually works a little too well, and my triple Revenant run with our army of spirit summons was especially memorable. And of course, the biggest reason to play with friends is just because it's fun to hear each other's reactions when things get dire and someone clutches it out. And this game provides plenty of opportunities for clutch moments due to the revive mechanic. You guys gotta do it, bro. You just gotta do it. You just gotta do it, bro. You just gotta do it. Come on, you can do it. 1 or 2. It's 1 or 2. 1 or 2. No. 1 more hit. Yes!
Dude, oh my god.
Oh my god!
That
Are
was
you recording
crazy.
that? Are you recording that?
I recorded that. I recorded
Oh
that.
my god!
Next, playing with randoms via matchmaking. This is still a very fun way to play the game, but it definitely has the potential to be a more frustrating experience. When you're running around the map, there's nothing
Alright,
stopping
this
your
dude's
teammate
pretty
from
much
just
answered
ignoring
my questions. If you want to go play
something I think the average
Elden
player would
Ring,
find too punishing and
just go
unfun.
play the
If you do insist on playing
fucking
this way,
the co-op mod that came out. Go play that, bro.
I highly encourage
Don't
you to at least
even
learn all the
bother
bosses in a
buying
co-op
this
setting
fucking
first.
hunk of
But yeah,
shit, dude.
overall, I had fun with all 3 of these different ways of playing. It took me about 15
Like, this
hours
dude's
to get credits for the
alright,
first
yeah,
time,
he
but I
makes
think
some
it's on the
okay
faster side,
points,
and I
but
suspect the average
overall,
player
it's
will
a
take
shit
somewhere around
game.
25 hours, if not longer.
Like,
Now,
you're
I've been
just
sprinkling my
paying
thoughts
for the
and critiques throughout
same
this whole video,
fucking
but
thing
let's spend some time to really
again.
get down to what I see as the bigger problems and disappointments I have with this game. First, and this is the biggest one by far, randomization and variety across the board is lacking. This takes
You
a few different
already
forms, but
said
the main
this,
one is the map
bro.
itself. Basically, with the exception of the shifting Earth world events, there is one map for the entire game. The only thing that changes between runs is that most of the points of interest get swapped around with each other.
Yeah, you're gonna get
what was
bored
a
of this
fort one
so
match
quick,
might be a
dude.
church the next one. Other points of interest like spirit streams, spectral trees, scarabs, everjails, and the central castle don't ever swap around. And of course, the terrain itself remains the same. Now, none of this is inherently
Yeah,
bad,
just go play
but
the
it does lead
co-op,
to
bro.
runs feeling pretty similar each time, especially if you're like me and figure out strats like how it's effective to always set up the castle as soon as possible. This is compounded by the points of interest themselves being incredibly static. Like if you get a fort, there are exactly 2 potential bosses, a golem or a chrysolium, that you can encounter here, each with corresponding enemy layouts. Some areas are even worse. Like if you get the Sleep Ruins area, you will encounter the same rune bear every time, no matter what. What this means is that after you encounter an area for the first time, you pretty much know exactly what to expect the next time you see it. Their locations on the map might shift slightly, but the areas themselves are incredibly static. This extends to the shifting earth biomes as well. So yes, they do change up the map, but these areas are also very static. Same locations, same enemies, same bosses, same rewards even, every time. That's why I said they're very fun to figure out at first, but less so as you keep encountering them and basically know exactly what to do. Now, I'm of two minds about this. On one hand, as I've said, yes, this all feels a little too predictable for a roguelike. On the other hand, this does play into classic FromSoft level design of being very deliberate with enemy and boss placements. So while sure I would have liked more, what we're left with is still thoughtful even if it is static. And on top of that, because you know exactly what to expect, it means you can both refine your strategies for specific areas while also being able to better gauge how long a specific area will take to clear based on past runs. Regardless, runs do feel too similar too quickly, and I found myself slipping into patterns of doing the same thing each run and taking similar routes even when the starting locations were different. Not only does this get samey, it also makes the game easier and easier because you figure out what works, and you can just keep repeating that. Like I said, I was reaching level 10 by the first night pretty often at a certain point, and that's a consequence of this design. I think in my ideal version of this game, there would be a separate map for each Night Lord rather than one map for all 8. I really think they could have gotten a bit crazier than making everything Limgrave. Sure, we have a shifting earth event that turns one corner of the map into a swamp, but I feel like this game would have benefited more from a map where the whole thing is a swamp, or a volcano, or a snowy mountain. I recognize that's asking for a lot though, so that might just not have been realistic given the scope of the game.
No, that's not
Side note,
asking
it is
for a
wild
lot,
how
bro.
infrequent shifting earth events are after you complete the game. I think I got only one after hours and hours of runs, so that
It's
feels
not,
off to me, especially when it's one of the few things that
It's
adds
not
some meaningful
impossible
variety
if
to the
it's
game.
already
Maybe I was
there,
just unlucky,
bro.
though. My issues with limited randomization
Not a
and
dev,
variety
but if it's
also
already
extends to the upgrades
there,
you can acquire
you
mid-run.
don't have
But
to
since I already
make
said
it
most of
just
what I wanted to say
Limgrave.
earlier in the video on this topic, I'll just remind you that it's a thing
An
that
area
further
we
compounds
all
the lack of
played
variety I just mentioned with the
before.
map. To be clear, I think
Like,
the game
that's
does
just
deliver a
poor,
very solid
like,
experience
game
that maintains
design
that
in my
FromSoft
eyes,
quality
bro.
we're used to. And if you're just aiming to hit credits, it doesn't outstay its welcome. It's mostly after that point, when you try to keep playing it as this replayable roguelike, that you'll
Not
probably
going to.
notice these things too, especially since there's no extra modes or harder difficulty options to uncover after finishing the game. I really hope they add some sort of hard mode, or maybe even a chaos mode that drastically increases the boss pools of each location. Like maybe you can find a room bear or a dragon on top of a fort instead of a knight. The Night Lord elemental weakness system is also kind of strange to me. So basically, cool idea on paper. You get to see the elemental weakness of each Night Lord before selecting it at the round table hold. If you use a weapon with the corresponding element, not only do you deal a lot more damage, you also get extra elemental staggers with their own unique animation. Keep in mind, these elemental staggers are in addition to the normal staggers. Between that and the extra damage, you can absolutely steamroll the Night Lords if everyone has the relevant damage type. Like truly, victory is a foregone conclusion if you do this. But hey, that seems like a fair reward for getting lucky with the weapon drops, right? Well, maybe, but my issue is that you can actually get them basically every time. You see, ruins and camps on the map are often marked with a corresponding elemental icon. This tells you what type of elemental threat you'll be dealing with, but it also tells you the type of reward you'll get. That means if you go to a fire camp, you're guaranteed to get a fire weapon. And even though it might only be blue tier rarity, all you need to do is run over to one of the unchanging mine locations and defeat a very easy mini boss to get a smithing stone that allows you to upgrade it to purple tier. A purple weapon with the correct element is more powerful than a legendary orange weapon. And again, with how this system is set up, you can get one of these pretty much every run with very little effort. Now, on some level, I like the idea of planning ahead and being strategic with your weapon choices to counter a boss, but the numbers here feel off. And maybe I'd be more okay with this if there was some form of harder difficulty options or alternate modes to mess around with after beating the game, but like I already mentioned, there are none. And I'm left with this feeling of, do I use this strategy to guarantee the win, or purposefully sandbag myself to have more fun? Truthfully, I'm faced with similar dilemmas in other FromSoft games, but it definitely doesn't feel great here in a game that revolves entirely around combat, at least for me. Next, let's talk about how they decided to handle the return of past Dark Souls bosses. And to be clear, this is definitely more of a disappointment than a problem. Basically, we all got baited hard by the initial marketing and reveal trailer. I think it was pretty easy to imagine this massive FromSoft crossover experience after they showed off the Nameless King from Dark Souls 3 in that first trailer. Then they showed us the Centipede Demon from Dark Souls and the Duke's Deer Freya from Dark Souls 2. So naturally, the community got excited about all the bosses that could be brought back. Lore be damned, Pandora's box had been opened, and I for one was looking forward to experiencing iconic Souls fights with Elden Ring mechanics. And while we did technically get that, unfortunately, that initial reveal was actually half of the Dark Souls boss roster. Yep, by my count, there are only 6 in the game, so 2 from each Souls game. I won't spoil them here, but yeah, it's a huge bummer. And beyond the boss disappointment, this also seemed like the obvious opportunity to bring back Dark Souls enemies too, in an effort to spice things up in a game that desperately needed a bit more variation. But that just didn't happen at all. It's only Elden Ring enemies. You're telling me you're bringing back shit from Dark Souls and not throwing in a bone wheel skeleton? Fucking airball, man. And on top of that, there were these obvious slam dunks. Like in the same way that Margit can invade you and chase you around. What about the Pursuer from Dark Souls 2? He was literally made for this. But no, they just didn't do it. Also, I understand that changes would need to be made to these bosses to make them work in Elden Ring. Hell, even with changes, a lot of them would probably get steamrolled by a co-op squad of players with Elden Ring mechanics. But man, I really think it could have worked. And in the cases where the bosses wouldn't put up much of a fight, just make them low-threat mini-bosses scattered around the world as opposed to night bosses. Like if I find some ruins, let me fight Capra Demon instead of another pack of Albinorics. So yeah, my theory is that these bosses were added pretty late in development because they felt like the existing Night 1 and Night 2 boss roster was too slim without them. And while I get that, it's hard not to feel baited and disappointed when the markings seem to imply a different type of game. Oh, also, what's the deal with them including none of the enemies and bosses from Shadow of the Erdtree, aside from the Golden Hippo? Once again, this feels like an easy layup that they missed, unless they're saving it for some planned DLC. It's weird, man. My next disappointment is the relic system. The prospect of going on a run, getting some randomized relics, and then using them to create unique setups is pretty fun. The reality though is that 90% of the relics you get are worthless, and by the time you complete a few remembrances for each character, you'll have the best in slot, character-specific relics that you'll never take off. Thus, while it's technically a system that lets you mix, Wilder probably has the best ones, with one that gives him a follow-up attack with his grappling hook that also buffs his weapon with fire, and another that what we're left with is
Let me preface, the game is great. The new bosses are fantastic. And if you're a die-hard Souls fan, of course it's worth the buy. What? Bro, you gave it a negative review. The new music is beautiful. I adore all the new characters. There's a lot of good here with good foundations, but there's more work to be done for the average player. No new weaponry. Very little content. Night Rain is an asset flip of Elden Ring, which was expected from Soft didn't try to hide that. However, you would expect at least some new gear and enemies so far. Oh my god. The game is pretty difficult and balanced towards 3 players, especially Night Lords. Going at it all solo, you'll need to be experienced and pretty skilled to make any progress. Even with 3 legacy players, all of us playing for 5 to 10 years plus years of Souls games, it was difficult to beat the first Night Lord. Meaning, without a dedicated group of friends, you're likely at the mercy of randoms to progress. People disconnecting, trolling, leaving, and yeah, bro. Why are you gonna say that this is a good game and then shit on it? Booted up the game, full of confidence, tutorial easy. I'm basically a Souls veteran. Faced the first boss, he sneezed. I died twice, realized the real enemy was hope. Game is a blast, amazing combat, beautiful music. It's all fucking... Had random people join to just run off and do their own thing. Let me do it with my mate. Great game if you have short-term memory loss, making it feel like a new experience every run. Otherwise, have fun running the same map with 5 different points of interest, slightly remixed every time. Yeah, all right. So you guys all answered my questions. Thank you. All questions have been answered. Elden Ring Night Rain is a crock of shit. Love it, bro. Love it, dude. Oh, shit. Oh. Is the game gonna have a seizure? 20 different times again? Bro, I feel like it's EA because Steam doesn't do this, bro. Brother. Are you actually fucking with me? Brother, just go full screen. Oh, how wonderful, bro. I guess Tactical Conquest?
Conquests.
30 minutes. Outpost, 6 minutes. Pacific War. All right. All right. Brother, what is going on? Okay, let's go to strategic conquest. Let me guess, I downloaded this for nothing. Let's take 20 years to cancel. Dude, I'm still canceling, bro. I'm about to get off this too. If it does it again, uninstall, bro. Need to figure out what I'm gonna have for dinner. I think I'm gonna get a Red Bull at some point too. 9 p.m. 6:30. And then next week is fucking 3/16. Boy Sean O'Malley. Hollow. Got a few good ones on this card. Finding Game. Dude, did it just fucking... We've been live for a fucking hour and we haven't done shit.
Soldiers, capture and hold as many objectives as you can.
We're gonna get our asses whooped, bro.
We have lost our first soldier. The enemy is dominating. Seize control of their objectives. We have taken objective.
Bruh. There's like 20 people in this game, bro. Not even. And that dude's in a fucking helicopter. Or not helicopter, but... Bruh.
Gone for good.
Fine work. Objective easy is now ours. We are losing objective easy.
Ah, brother. Brother, 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 brother.
We must capture and hold as many objectives as possible. First enemy has been eliminated.
Okay.
Objective box is ours. Soldiers, we have taken objective easy. The enemy is dominating. Seize control of their objectives. Enemy down!
I think I'm just gonna hang back. Oh shit.
We have taken objective Vega.
Well, I'm gonna get you. Oh. Holy fuck.
Moving in objective able.
先生助けてくれ
I want to spawn on this guy. Sensitivity's a little high. Wow.
Objective able has been lost.
なんなんだじっとして大丈夫だから
助けてくれ
Dude.
Move in go I got him nice work
Fucking.
Objective Baker has been lost.
Where do we have to go?
Soldiers, objective dog is now ours. We have lost
I had it, bro.
Fine work. Objective easy is now ours.
Oh god.
The battle is half won. Keep going. これから向かわせ。
Okay. Wow.
Objective George has been noted.
Thank you. How was he sliding?
Good job. We have taken objective George.
これで傷を手当てしろ。何？
Good
What the fuck? Where is he? Where are you? Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
Objective dog. Attention. Objective dog has been lost.
Oh, nice, bro. Holy fucking balls!
We have now taken objective Haven. Soldiers, objective Easy has been lost.
Hit me up. Oh my god, dude. Holy shit. This is why I like Rush, bro. Limited vehicles. I'll try this one game here.
We must gain control of as many objectives as possible. Able has been secured.
I'm just gonna hang out here for a second. No big
Attention
deal,
all
right?
squads. We have taken objective Baker.
No big deal, right, bro? This gun jumps around way too much, bro. Great. Love it. Love it. Let's hit it again.
Open fire!
Great. Teammates were right next to me. Couldn't even revive me. Hell yeah. What I love to see, brother. Love to see it. Love to see it, bro. Would you just fucking look at it?
We have control of objective Charlie.
What we looking for, mate?
Hey, I'm reloading! Attention, we no longer control objective Able. Objective Baker is under enemy control.
This is probably gonna be my last game, and I'm just gonna get off, go to the gym. And then when I come back, I'll play Silent Hill until the UFC comes on.
Enemy down!
You owe me one.
Never better.
Oh fuck! Forget what that did. I'm a medic.
Should be okay now. Need a hand! Just a moment.
Oh my god, bro. I'm so trash. It's gotta be the fucking gun I'm using too, bro.
Dog is secure. We've lost control of objective dog.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that. Fucking shoot him, dude. Oh.
Here's something for you.
There's no way I'm making it to 30 minutes. Yeah, game says 40 minutes. There's no way I'm gonna make it.
You make it look easy. Keep up the fight.
Oh, fuck. I tried to be a nice guy. I really did. I tried to be a nice guy. Oh, shit.
We have taken objective easy.
Alright, brother. We're with you. Oh, fuck. Thanks, brother. Good man right there.
Come on now.
Hang on, Henry Smith. I'm coming to get you.
Should be okay now.
Yeah, this is really a close quarters gun. I should not get in long range fights with this.
We have secured objective dog.
Come on, bro. You don't want to drive?
Give me a second. You owe me one.
Alright, you motherfuckers, dude.
Danger over there. Don't let me bleed out.
Come on, bro. Let's go.
Anybody, hear me.
We must towards a better position.
Halfway there. Oh no. What the fuck? Literally in the middle of doing shit on my computer and it's, oh, do you wanna do a Windows restart right now? Even though I put it to, I'm active on this computer until like 10 a.m. to fucking like midnight? I'll do it when I get ready to leave. Oh, fuck. Or I might try and get on Daisy again.
Attention, we no longer have control of Objective Dog.
Nailed one! Reloading here! I need help!
Beware, we no longer have charge at Objective Easy.
That's one of them!
We have taken control of Objective Baker.
I don't even know where to go. No, I was gonna get him up.
Objective Able.
Holy shit. Oh, dude. Guy behind me.
Able is under attack. Requesting air support on B's coordinates. Objective Able is under enemy control. You got it, he's coming.
Okay. Literally have a fucking account with them. Fucking losers. Bro, what? All right. Last run here. Okay, cool. Had to order some things. I'm gonna get the fuck off this though after this is pretty much done anyway, so.
Up you go, soldier!
Help me, help me, help me, help me. Oh, help me.
I'm hit, but I'm all right.
Oh my god.
Ordering a smoke barrage from the east coordinate.
Your order is ready to be taken up. I'm gonna tell them when I get there too. That a fucking account was deleted. It's done. I'll be back in probably like an hour or two. I'm just gonna go to the gym, do my ab workout, and then I'll be back. I gotta get lunch too, so.